An error has occurred. Oh, I need to refresh.
It's one pretty big error. I'm just, oh my God.
Hold on, we're getting there. Is it recording?
No, it's on YouTube. Like, I'm just watching myself sit there.
Technical difficulties, everyone. We are all right. Let's try again. All right, we're starting now. This episode of the Feelings Over Facts podcast is sponsored by our YouTube. Head over to youtube.com/Feelings Over Facts podcast and subscribe. Welcome in to the Feelings Over Facts podcast. I'm your host, Zach Simmons. Here, my co-host, Daniel Jones, aka DJ. DJ, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
Feeling good. Back again, episode number 30. Apologies, everyone, for the technical difficulties up top over on the YouTube live side. That's why you should, that's a good segue into our, you should subscribe to our YouTube so that you can see all of our YouTube live chat and even catch some of the technical difficulties from time to time that you may not catch on the edited Spotify podcast. So head over there and give us a subscribe so you can catch in on all that. As well as head over to our Instagram and give us a follow, as well as our TikTok. We post lots of short form content on there. Lots of fun stuff. So head over there and give us a follow and support the podcast. DJ, let's go ahead and get started with what missed the show. First off, how are you doing? What's been happening in the sports world for you? Any surprises lately?
Nothing that I can say that won't ruin my feeling of the week just yet. So,
okay.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Nice. Enticing everyone to stay till the end for the feeling of the week. That's a good job by you. Well done. All right, let's go ahead and get into what missed today's show. Mark Cuban is selling his stake as the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks, one of the most well-known owners in the NBA, selling the Dallas Mavericks. Exactly, yes. What also missed the show, USC's backup quarterback Miller Moss throws for a record 372 yards in USC's bowl game win, showing that the future is bright for the USC Trojans as well. What also missed the show, Florida State coach claims if they finish as the only unbeaten team, they should be crowned the national champions. So that is what missed today's show.
By the way, USC's backup quarterback, everybody just go look on ESPN. Look at his profile picture. He looks like the biggest douche of all time. I just got to say that real quick.
All right. I'll go take a look. I don't even know what the guy looks like, to be honest.
A classic white boy.
But man's catching strays at the top of the show.
He needs to be. Had a great game, but he looks like an absolute tool.
Hey, fair enough. Happens to the best of them. All right. Let's go ahead. The YouTube chat is
excited for the show
already. The YouTube chat is excited for the show, as we can see. So if you're listening to this on Spotify later on, tune
missed
into
out.
the live streams in the future so you can enjoy the live stream of the show. All right, DJ, let's get into our first topic. Since our last show, we have seen one of the most popular quarterbacks in the NFL, Mr. Russell Wilson, lose his spot as the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. They are now throwing in their backup. DJ, do you agree with this benching? Do you think that Russ should have been benched?
No, I don't. So Sean Payton, like a bunch of other big time coaches in the NFL and probably in college too, suffer from this disease that I call my guy syndrome. He needs to go get someone that's his guy, apparently. And Sean Payton did not make the decision or have any decision making in Russell Wilson. So he's wanting to get rid of him. And he doesn't care about how big of a cap hit he's taking because Sean Payton's always right and no one else is right. He's the head coach and whatever he says goes. Now, if you listen to the podcast in the past, we all know that I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan ever. Probably number one on one of my crap lists, honestly. But guy has actually been playing all right this year, and he was a big part of their mid-season surge to kind of get them into this, playoff contending spot. They are only a 6% chance. They only have a 6% chance of making the playoffs now after that loss to the Patriots on Christmas Eve. But I still wouldn't have, cut them. I get it, the financials. Yeah. I'm so tired of this culture in the NFL of let's tank or let's just lose for the offseason next year because next year will be even better. It's just this loser mentality that the NFL has. It's so annoying. It's toxic. It's lame. I hate it for I hate when fan bases are just rooting for wins or rooting for losses, not rooting for wins. Absolutely ridiculous. I hate it.
How do you get rid of that though? Sorry to shift the topic for just a second, but how would you get rid of NFL? I was going to say, do you go full? Yeah, I was about to say, do you go full soccer in Europe and just add a relegation to the NFL and promotion system?
Maybe I don't know how that would ever work, but hey, maybe that's what XFL/USFL turns into.
Maybe a lottery.
No, and no, the lottery is a terrible idea too. It doesn't really help in the NBA either.
Yeah, I guess teams still tank in the NBA.
They do.
To get a better lottery pick.
Speaking of what else missed the show, the Detroit Pistons have set an NBA record for most consecutive losses in an NBA season at 27. We didn't even cover that. What's wrong with us?
They really are bad. All right. Back 2 topics ago. Back to should the Broncos have benched Russ. I guess I'll go ahead and give my opinion. I think, based on his play alone, that the benching was not deserving. However, that is clearly not the only factor here that is led to him being benched. I think a lot of it is what you were saying with Sean Payton is realizing that Russell Wilson is not really able to run his system, and he wants to get his guy in there. And the Broncos seem to be backing Sean Payton, and they're going to cut Russell Wilson at the moment when it causes the least amount of money to them. But based on his play, yeah, it's going to be the biggest dead cap hit in NFL history. The 2 biggest before him combined is what his is going to be, is what I heard. It's Matt Ryan's cap hit whenever he was cut, as well as there's one other player. But if you combine those 2, I think it still doesn't equal what Russell Wilson's is going to be. So, based on his play alone, which hasn't really been great, I don't think he should have been benched. But if you look at his play compared to what they're paying him great money. Top of the line QB contract, and they're getting middle of the road quarterback play. So if you look at what they're paying for what they're getting, his play has been very bad in comparison to other quarterbacks. That is why I say he should have been benched, but not totally on his play alone, because his play is not the only factor here. This is a salary cap sport, and if you're paying a quarterback top of the line money because you believe that his play can be so good that you don't have to have as good of players around him, then and that quarterback doesn't produce, your team is going to suffer because of that. And I think that is a lot of what we're seeing with this benching of Russell Wilson and with them cutting him, which has all been confirmed. And combined with a lot of what you're saying of Sean Payton is not buying into the whole let Russ cook mantra that he has thrown upon himself. So that's kind of where I'm at with
talking about tools. Russell Wilson is a big tool.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of brought that upon himself. So, so what's your kind of your take on that? With you could say his play has been bad in comparison to what they're paying him, and I think it's one of the worst causing this benching.
I think it's one of the worst contracts, one of the worst trades, one of the worst franchise decisions made by an organization in the NFL to go after Russ the way that they did. I've kind of been saying that for day one.
One of the worst trades. I mean, we're in like a golden age of bad trades for quarterbacks in the NFL at the current moment. You got the Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, and it's starting to think that the Panthers and the Bears trade. It's starting to look like it's starting to look bad. You trade all of that draft capital, all those picks to move up and take the wrong quarterback. I would say, even for what I've seen out of Levis, I might say that what he's shown, some people would maybe say what he's done is better than what Bryce Young has shown. So that one's also looking like it could be an all-timer as far as a bad trade. But not to get off topic, but yeah.
Zach, Nick Carini said in the chat, Zach, you told me Russell Wilson was trash earlier this week. What changed your opinion?
Nothing changed my opinion. I think I just explained why I would think he's trash. In comparison to what he's being paid to what he's producing, I think that it's not really. I mean, would you argue that that's not fair to say? If you looked at what he's producing as far as wins and play, I mean, just watch. A lot of it is an eye test thing, because I've watched several Broncos games this season, and if he played better, they could have won a few more games. They could be in a better position to make the playoffs. And they did go. I think he would have even been benched sooner if they didn't go on a winning streak. I think that the winning streak delayed what was always going to happen, and that they realized that he's a little bit washed, honestly, and they were always going to bench him this season. I think Sean Payton always was going to do that, and the winning streak delayed that, because the fans would have been pissed if you have a quarterback winning these consecutive games and then you benched him. And then I think that just losing to, what was it, the Chargers right before the Patriots? They lost. Yeah, I think it was the Chargers, right? They lost to the Chargers, and then they lost to the worst team in the.
They beat the Chargers. Lions, they lost to the Lions.
They beat the Chargers, and then they got absolutely blown out by the Lions, 42-17, and then followed that up with a loss at home against one of the worst teams in the NFL, the Patriots, in a game in which Russ did not look great.
I'll be honest, Russ hasn't looked great all year this year. Russ, I think he's gotten a lot of breaks with how good Cortland Sutton's been this year, especially with some of the spectacular catches that he has had this year. And their defense. I think their defense really pieced it together. And that's part of the big reasons why they went on this big winning streak. They also caught a bunch of teams that aren't good at the right time. Timing's everything. In love, in football, winning streaks, and betting, and everything. Timing is everything. So I will say that is 100% what happened. They just got it at the right time.
Yeah, they got hot at the right time, and then they got cold at the wrong time. So, yep, there we go. That is kind of our any more opinions on the Russell Wilson benching?
Where's he play next year?
Oh man,
I'm saying Commanders.
Tennessee?
Hell no.
I'm just kidding. I can see Atlanta. I think Atlanta has done enough where they're not going to be in a good position to really draft a top of the line quarterback. So I think Atlanta could be in the market for it. You're saying Washington? You think that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess they also benched Sam Howell. That's gone a little bit. Yeah, and just recently, I think that's gone a little bit under the radar because of the whole Russell Wilson benching. So it looks like they're going to be in the market for a QB as well. So yeah, I can see Atlanta. I could see, Washington. Those two make a lot of sense. I'm just looking at teams right now. New England, Russell Wilson.
If Bill Belichick's still there, no.
No?
If Bill Belichick is still there, no.
Why is that?
Bill won't put up with his crap.
That's true. He probably won't. Yeah.
Another reason why I said that he won't come to Tennessee because Vrabel won't put up with his crap.
Yep. If Vrabel's still there.
Titans country, let's ride. He's not leaving.
Or what if he's let go?
No.
All right.
Did you hear? Don't you know who Parker Campbell is? He said he's unfireable.
I mean, they did lose. What was it? 7 games in a row last season to miss the playoffs, and they're 5-10 currently. I mean, he's got to wear some of that.
They fired their GM halfway through the year, and then he basically helped hire Rand Carthon in some way or shape or form. He got an opinion on it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I don't think he's going anywhere. All right. I'm not talking about the Titans right now. We were talking about Russ. Let's stop.
All right. There is our opinions on if Russ should have been benched. Moving right along. We got 2 questions that kind of go hand in hand. So I'll phrase them both to you, and then you can kind of give me your opinions, your feelings on both. So question 1, who do we see at the current moment should be the Super Bowl favorite based on whatever reason we want to justify it with? Who's the best team in the NFL and should be, in our opinion, the Super Bowl favorite? And who can we see making a surprise run to the Super Bowl? Similar to a few years ago, whenever the Bengals made it. Whenever they came into the playoffs, everyone thought they were probably going to be a one and done, and then they got hot and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. So who we see as our current best team in the NFL, who should be the Super Bowl favorite, and who could we potentially see making a surprise Super Bowl run?
Well, also in later podcasts we have done, I said that the Ravens were pretenders, but now I'm starting to get on the bandwagon of they're actually a legitimate Super Bowl contender and favorite.
You're starting to buy into the Baltimore?
I mean, it's not just Lamar. It's his receiving core is looking a lot better. Zay Flowers is an absolute beast. He's not the only guy that's doing something for that team, but I just want to give him a shout out. That defense is flying around the ball. They made apparently MVP favorite Brock Purdy, it's a whole other conversation.
Longest win streak like in the NFL.
Fraud. I mean, you have to give them their flowers. They're looking really good, and if it's going through Baltimore, it's a tough place to play. And there's no excuse that if they are the number 1 seed in the AFC that they shouldn't go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, those are fair points. Baltimore is
We're also
going to
big game for them this week. They're playing Miami. If they pull it out against Miami, it pretty much solidifies the number 1 seed.
I think they clinched the number 1 seed with a win in that game.
Yes.
So,
Them and Miami have already clinched playoff spots, so this is all for seeding. Also, for the first time ever, another factoid that I want to hit on. First time ever in his career, Patrick Mahomes will not have home field advantage since he's been a starter, which is crazy.
yeah,
The AFC title game cannot go through KC.
Yep. That is
unless something crazy happens.
Yeah. I think that, there's 2 games left. They're 3 games behind Baltimore, so I don't think there's any way that they can get the number 1 seed. I think
they can't. They can't. It's officially.
They've officially lost it. So, yeah, Baltimore's certainly the hottest team in the NFL. 5 wins in a row, longest NFL active win streak. My current Super Bowl favorite is still the San Francisco 49ers. I know that they did just get waxed by Baltimore. And that definitely happened. Brock Purdy looked bad, threw a hat trick of interceptions +1. And he has got to wear that. But we've seen every team in the NFL, all of the good teams, have had bad weeks. They've had bad games. We've seen the Eagles lose to the Jets. We've seen the Lions have multiple bad weeks. The Ravens in the beginning of the season were very inconsistent, beating Houston, Cincinnati, and then losing to the Colts, and then beating Cleveland, and then losing to the Steelers. And they've actually lost to, and then they beat Seattle and lose to the Browns. So the Ravens have had a few bad losses. So have the Dolphins. So I don't think that loss to the Ravens is that big a deal for the 49ers. I think that if you look at the totality of the regular season and the good teams that are going into the postseason, what the 49ers have shown is that they do deserve to be the Super Bowl favorite. They've had the highest highs in the regular season. And just watching them play, watching the eye test of what this offense can do, what this defense can do, they are deserving of being the Super Bowl favorite. Blowing out the Dallas Cowboys 42-10 was one of their biggest wins of the season, beating that. They have smacked some of the best teams in the NFL. They beat the Cowboys 42-10. They beat the Jaguars 34-3. They beat the Eagles 42-19. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by multiple scores, which, that doesn't sound like much, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking really good right now. It's looking like they're going to be a playoff team. They have, in a lot of ways, just gone about their business and been, in my opinion, the overall best team in the NFL. They're 9-1 in their conference. That's the best conference record. They also have the highest point differential out of any team in the NFL. So I think they have the fewest blemishes out of all the teams out of all the best teams, because they all have blemishes, and they've shown that they have the highest ceiling out of any team. And in my opinion, they deserve to be the current Super Bowl favorite. What say you about that?
I feel like it's not even a hot take. It's not even that. It's not supposed to be that hot of a take.
My next take's going to be hot.
Okay.
This was not supposed to be a hot take. This is just who we think is the current best team.
So
my next take of who we can see.
We both picked the 1 seeds, so we're not original at all.
I think that's fair though. I think that the Baltimore Ravens and the 49ers, what they've shown, they deserve to be regarded as the 2 Super Bowl favorites at the current.
If we're just talking eye test, and yes, 100%.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, who can we see making a surprise run to the Super Bowl? I'll go ahead and go first with this because my take is a little bit hot. Maybe I'll inspire you to go out on the limb with yours as well. So I'm going the Jacksonville Jaguars as my surprise team to make it to the Super Bowl.
With CJ Beathard quarterback?
So that's one thing. I think Trevor Lawrence is finally going to get over this concussion that has been lingering for, it feels like a month at this point. They're getting Christian Kirk back as well. So they're getting healthy at the right time. They are they have the firepower. They've shown that they can put up points against good defenses outside of San Francisco. That is the game that, if you're going to disagree with me, that is the game you would point to, because that game they looked absolutely trash against one of the best teams in the NFL. They put up 3 points. They got just demolished. But surrounded by that game, they have had a long stretch in the NFL where they were very good. They won 5 games in a row. They put up 37 on Indy. They beat Buffalo. They held Kansas City to only 17 points. They did lose that game, but to hold Kansas City to 17 points, pretty impressive. They're on a little bit of a losing streak right now, but I think they're getting healthy at the right time. And then they have Carolina and Tennessee as their last 2 games, 2 teams that really are not really interested in winning it right now. So I think that they can get 2 wins, go into the playoffs in with the right mojo, and they have a pretty good defense. Their defense, looking at their defensive metrics, they are a top 15 defense. And I think that if Trevor Lawrence can get healthy, Trevor Etienne, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, this offense has enough firepower that they really can score with anyone. I think that if they get hot at the right time, I know it's a bit of a hot take but I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a shot to be that surprise Super Bowl run team.
I mean, I don't hate it.
Going on a limb.
You know what? All right, let's take another. Hold on a second. I want to ask you this: since you at AFC, who's your NFC team that you can see going to run?
My NFC team. That's hard
for fun,
because the NFC is a lot more top heavy.
That's what she said.
I mean, is it cheating to say the Lions? Is that would that be a surprise?
They're fighting for a 1 seed. They're fighting for a 1 seed technically.
Yeah, but I'd still be surprised if the Lions made the Super Bowl.
The whole city of Detroit would be surprised.
Like, I think that
they're going to get beat by the Rams in the first round anyway, because Matthew Stafford's coming back home, and it's going to be doors. Puka Nacua and Cooper's going to run all over them. I'm calling that now.
A Matthew Stafford revenge game. Loading.
Yes. Yes.
I can see it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The NFC is so top heavy with the 49ers, Eagles,
and
Lions in Dallas that I don't know. I couldn't really see anyone besides those top 4 teams in the NFC really making it. But I could see, but not as strongly as I feel that the Jaguars have it with as down as they are right now, losing 4 straight with Trevor Lawrence being in and out. I think that they still have, and they have a shot to make the Super Bowl. I think that they rushed him back from his concussion. I think they should have sat him out. That he came back and he didn't look totally right. I think he's gonna get healthy. They're gonna win these last 2 games. They're gonna be going to the playoffs strong.
All righty. Well, for my NFC team, I'm going Tampa as my team that makes a run.
Tampa, that's a hot take too.
I think that defense is still got some of those pieces where they won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Yes, I know. And I'm not comparing Tom Brady and saying that Baker Mayfield is just as good, because this is not that kind of show. I'm not Skip Bayless. I'm not Mad Dog or whatever the hell his name is, who said the Shaq's not in the top 5 of sinners. Ridiculous. But I do think that this team is playing very well right now. Yes, they're beating up on teams that, aren't playoff teams at all. But a 4-game win streak in the NFL is a 4-game win streak, and they're looking very good right now. Mike Evans is a walking 1,000 yards every year he gets on the field. Yeah. Baker's actually looking pretty solid, and I believe in that defense. The part of the team that scares me is the O-line and their running back situation. It's a little sus, but like I said, just throw it, Garrett Wilson effect. Just throw it down the field. Mike Evans is down there somewhere.
Mike Evans down there somewhere.
And then this one's kind of bait too, because they should be higher than they are in the standings in the AFC side. But I don't know why I feel like people are just sleeping on Buffalo still. They have looked really good here at the end of the year. They've won games that they needed to win. Yes, don't get me wrong. We've all seen their flaws. We've all seen what they haven't done, what they can't do. But I think that this team is starting to streak at the right time. It's a playoff position that they haven't had before. Also, if the season ended right now, they'd be playing Miami? No, they'd be playing Kansas City first round.
6-3, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be playing
KC.
Kansas City. Yeah. Rematch of one of the best playoff games in at least our lifetime.
But also, a game that came down with controversy because Kadarius Toney can't line up on sides, and Patrick Mahomes acted like a little girl about it. So did Andy Reid, and then they both were like, "Oh, sorry, yeah, we were wrong."
If you're a believer in point differential as a factor that could determine a good team, Buffalo is only behind Baltimore, Miami, San Francisco, and Dallas in point differential. So they're right there with some of the best teams as far as scoring points and holding teams to points. They've just lost several close games that they should have won. And they've had a few bad performances and lost to a few bad teams. I mean, they've lost to the Jets, they've lost to the Patriots, and they lost to the Broncos. All losses that the Buffalo.
Yeah.
So they have had a few bad losses that if they had won those games, to win the games that they should have, they could be in a much better position, be looked at in a different light. So I don't hate that answer for sure. I mean, they've been in playoff mode for a month now. They can't lose a game the rest of the way, or they're in danger of not making the playoffs. So
who they play this week?
Buffalo players the
Patriots.
No, it's their second game against the Patriots. And then they finish with Miami, who could be resting their starters in that game.
True.
So,
also, your Jacksonville take, if Jacksonville finishes the season where they are right now, they're going to get absolutely bombed by Cleveland. I'm calling it now. You know why? Because Myles Garrett is a bad man. That's why. Myles Garrett's a bad man. He could break
Trevor Lawrence in half. That he could throw him to the center of the earth. That might happen.
Yeah. Gets ahead of the rock when you're down there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Moving right along. We are jumping into the most profitable segment in all of sports. It is our bets of the week. DJ, would you like to go first?
Sure can. So, I don't know about Zach because I can't speak for him, but I went 2 college and 1 pro this week.
I'm all
for
pro.
My bets of the week, of course. I'm going Washington money line.
Trying to pick bowl games.
I'm not picking bowl games. I'm picking semifinals.
Oh wow!
I'm going Washington money line against Texas.
Ooh,
the upset.
I mean, I guess if I was a believer in Washington, I could see it, but I'm not. So carry on.
Okay. Then I'm going with, I don't know why this is an upset. We should be favored. Going with the Alabama Crimson Tide over the Michigan Wolverines because I don't think Michigan's worth jack crap. I think this game's gonna be a blowout. I think we beat them 42-17.
Wow. Going with a little alternate line action there, maybe?
No, I went money line.
Okay. All right. I like it.
And then my one NFL bet. This is a team that is technically still available for a playoff spot. They are fighting with the team they are playing this week is currently the 7th seed in the AFC. And I'm going with the Vegas Raiders to upset, according to Vegas, to upset Indianapolis. I think it's at home. Hold on.
Yeah.
No, it's at Indy. So they're going on the road. Road Dogs upsetting Indy.
Okay. I like it.
Aiden O'Connell gets it done. I don't know why I'm betting on the Raiders again.
They have really banded around this new coach. They seem to like him. They might keep him around.
Antonio Pierce, man. He's a coach. He's a player's coach, man.
They might keep him around next season from what it's looking like. They've looked good. All right. I like those. To my 3, I went all NFL. First one, Broncos -3 versus the Chargers. I think that they're going to get a bump from benching Russ. I think that Russ had lost the locker room. I think that the players.
Do you know who their backup quarterback is?
Yeah, it's Stidham.
Or
What do you mean?
The legend himself, Ben DiNucci.
And you already said they're starting Stidham.
I know, but I want Ben DiNucci.
Well, maybe it'll happen.
The former USFL superstar. Sorry, continue.
He was very good in the USFL. I've got Broncos -3 versus Chargers. I think that Russ had lost the locker room, and that with him being benched, they're all going to turn up, and they're going to band around Sean Payton and Stidham, and that they are going to beat the Chargers. I've got Broncos -3. Next, I've got Cowboys -5.5. I think this is low-key a little bit of a sleepy spot for the Lions. They all but dumped to the Gatorade last week with clinching the playoffs, clinching the division title for the first time in like a gazillion years. So
it's also a big primetime game too.
Yeah, so they're coming off of a win that they to win the division, something they haven't done in forever. So they're in a big letdown spot, and I think that the Cowboys really need this win to potentially compete with the Eagles for maybe winning the division. So I got Cowboys -5.5, and then finally I've got Dolphins +3.5 against the Ravens. I think that the Ravens really went all out trying to beat the 49ers, and that they could come into this spot a little laxed, even though it is a big game. It is for potentially the 1 seed. But I don't think that the Ravens are going to be able to stop Tyreek Hill and Waddle. And I think that the Dolphins could potentially win this on the money line, but I'm taking them +3.5. I think it's a close game. It's a field goal game either way. I've got Dolphins +3.5. Those are my picks.
I respect it. You're going into the psyche, into the feelings. That's what we do here. Go into the feelings.
Always got to go into the feelings. All right. Finishing up, let's go with our feeling of the week. I'll go ahead and go first, DJ.
Okay.
So you can save your previously teased one for last. I am saying my feeling of the week, a non-number 1 or 2 seed going to the playoffs is going to win the Super Bowl. I think that this season it's kind of wide open. There's not really any teams I see head and shoulders above the rest of the field. In a lot of seasons we see that. So I think that is a very good chance that we see one of the non-top 4 teams in the league win the Super Bowl this year. That's my feeling of the week.
Well then. All righty. What a feeling of the week.
Yep.
I bet you feel really good about it, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I do actually.
Feel outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyway, my feeling of the week. I said I wasn't going to talk about the Titans until now, basically, because if you have seen on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call the stupid online social media site, the Fox NFL Sunday Twitter page came out with a updated draft positioning in the top 10. And apparently the Tennessee Titans moved to Arizona. I'm sure you've seen it. Right,
I did. Yeah, you sent that in there. I was very confused at first, but then I saw that it said Arizona Titans, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So my feeling of the week is no one in the NFL actually gives a crap about my football team, and it's getting really old and really stupid. You cover all 32 teams, not 31, and just do your freaking job. Like, how hard is that? How hard is it to do your job?
The national media does a lot of times get bout on the Titans for sure.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that we need to be the center of attention right now because we are, a 5-win team right now. So, yeah, definitely not the cream of the crop. But, like, holy crap, how hard is it to get a freaking franchise right? Yeah. That social media guy needs to be fired, and I'll take his job because that's ridiculous.
Oh, wow. Man's losing his job for a typo.
He does, yeah. Moved the whole freaking franchise to a different state.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, you do that, and you could lose your job.
Hey, this is my feeling of the week, not your judgment of the week. So shut up. Let me cook.
Hey,
I'm benching you like I bench Russ. Let's get out of here.
Hashtag let DJ cook. It's our mantra for going into 2024.
I'm cooking.
I like
In
it.
the kitchen, whip looking like it's stir fry.
There we go. Bet you didn't think you would hear that song reference on the Feelings Over Facts podcast today, but you got it. From the Feelings Over Facts podcast, I'm your host, Zach Simmons. He's my co-host, Daniel Jones, aka DJ. Good morning and good night.
Peace. Tell somebody you love them.
Bye. And we're out.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. I haven't eaten dinner. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I got spaghetti waiting on me.